What is good, YouTube? Automating your barber business and winning back your time is an absolute necessity if you're looking to make 10K a month as a barber. And I use all three of these systems along my business journey, and they're absolutely key into getting to where I'm at right now. My name is Bristol. At 18 years old, I scaled my barber business up to 15K a month. Now I charge $100 per haircut and help other barbers do the same. Let's just get straight into the video, guys. If we start, there's really three main factors to achieving these results, right? And the first one is obviously going to be having a high ticket price, right? What is a high ticket price? Obviously, that just means maximizing our value per hour, right? Maximizing the price of our service, making sure that we're actually charging a high price and that every single cut that we do is bringing us the highest investment on return. So we're not doing a bunch of cuts at a low price. We're maximizing our output per haircut, per volume, right? Secondly, is going to be having a custom content strategy. Now, again, I say this in every single video, but really implementing a custom content strategy for each individual barber business is literally the best thing you could do, right? You don't want to be out here trying to steal somebody else's exact strategy because it might not work for you. You want to play to your strengths and you want to really be building a brand, right? If you're just out here trying to copy whatever somebody else's style is, it's not really going to help you build a brand. So the biggest thing is having a custom strategy. And the last thing is going to be the most underrated one, and that's going to be buying back your time by outsourcing tasks. What does outsourcing tasks allow us to do? Again, like I said, it allows us to buy back our time, allows us to actually work on the business, right? If you're in the shop cutting hair all day, you're going to be working in the business, right? But you're not going to be able to work actually on the business. So it's important to be able to do both because that extra time that you have outside of the shop is valuable, and you want to be using it to create and not necessarily just to do, kind of easier tasks that are more simple like editing. So we went ahead and applied all three of these directly into Jeff's business. And what that did for us was took us all the way from here, 5K a month, around 1,000 followers. He was just starting to get some type of traction on social media, right? As we can see here, like the views, 7K, there's a few spikes here, but that was nowhere near the results that we were getting after implementing the system for Jeff, taking him all the way to 17K followers, 10K months, and 75 per haircut, right? Because in Jeff's situation, he's still in high school during this entire time he's scaling. He's actually just about to graduate in the upcoming weeks. So for him, he didn't have a lot of time, right? So it's all about maximizing the amount of money that he could make per haircut without having to work long hours. Back here, he was doing, right, again, around 5K a month, $20 per cut, working those long hours, but really not getting anywhere compared to actually being fully booked out right here, doing those 10K months, right, while charging 75 a cut. So again here, right, he needed to maximize the amount that he's actually doing per hour, and eventually got to the point where he doesn't really have a lot of time to be editing all these videos on his off days, right? Because we did build in that custom content strategy with him, he was doing a lot of these three content vehicles right here. So for Jeff Cuts, right, we went ahead and implemented all of these in his business. His main content vehicles at the start were the day in the life, the consultations, and the before and afters, right? This is the system that actually started to bring us results. We started to see clients booked. We started to see him building a brand with these specific three vehicles, right? So before that, right, back up here, this was the testing area. We were testing out all type of before and afters, right? We're testing out tutorials, part one and part twos. But once we found a winning formula and something that worked for him and his page, something that he could actually do well, was these day in life consultations and before and afters, right? The thing was, the day in life required daily posting. And so what we ended up having to do was have him pumping out 2 videos per day. And the reason for doing these before and afters was really to showcase his work, right? We wanted him to be able to use his showcasing skills to showcase one type of haircut right here, right? That we actually see, right? So again, he's marketing a specific type of haircut. These before and afters and consultations were really the key to turning these views into clients. Because again, a lot of barbers are just entertainers, right? And if he didn't have these conversion posts, that's what he'd have been, right? Just another entertainer, just another person that people watch just for entertainment, but he's not making any money. These conversion posts, right, and being able to successfully convert is what was able to give him, you can see where this would eventually become an issue down the line. So the day in the life's worked, right? After some trial and error, right, he was able to perfect the day in the life. And honestly, out of any barber, right, Jeff has really mastered the day in the life. Like there's a lot of barbers that try and copy these but just don't get the same results, and that's for a few key reasons, right? With his day in the life, he has a message behind them. He has a call to action at the end of every single one. He's showcasing what he does, right, on his day-to-day life as a barber, and really making it unique and building a personal brand, right? And he has these series, day of road to 15K before graduation, road to 50K. These are series that make the viewer actually like connect with him, right? Instead of just having a barber that, day in the life, oh, I went to the store, I did this, I did that, right? Most of these videos had a message behind them. He would talk about his personal life, his thoughts, his struggles, and just overall make them very personal, right? And again, the main issue with these was that he had to post these every single day. So as you can see, most of them got a ton of engagement, and this is the source of his rapid growth in followers. Again, just under 2,000 followers, all the way up to 10xing that, 17K nearly, right? So what was really the key takeaway, right? It was these day in the lives that drove up his engagement. A lot of barbers use other engagement posts, right? A lot of barbers try and be entertaining entertaining. They do skits, they do part ones, right? They do whatever they need to actually become entertaining. But for Jeff, he was able to build a brand and be able to build a strong following by making these day in the lives. However, we quickly ran into a problem, and that was that these day in the lives alone were not cutting it, right? So he needed to post twice a day. He needed to post client conversion, which is where the consultations came in. He was already used to being on camera, right? He was already used to being entertaining, showing his expertise. He had like a great personality, right? People are really coming to his chair because as barbers, right, we're almost like somebody's friend, right? A lot of us are very chill, personable people. And so for his clients, right, he retained a lot of clients just based off his personality alone, and just the fact that he was the guy that people would want to come to just to be around, just because of his personality, right? Just because, again, he's a personable, outgoing person, and that was one of his strengths. So he was able to showcase that on the day in the life content, but it wasn't converting, and that's because it was only showing his life, not so much his craft, right? So we went ahead and implemented these consultations and really brought them up to the point where we had the formula down, where they were actually able to convert clients, right? Why are consultations so effective, right? Because these were getting a lot of views, but they weren't booking any clients. So why did implementing consultations actually work for us? Well, because consultations out of any content vehicle out there are probably the highest client conversion rate, again, of any vehicle, right? That's because they showcase personality and expertise in one area. They target one specific client, right? Most of his content is about either how he styles curly hair or how he styles texture and straight hair. So it's showcasing his styling and an ability to do one cut, which is probably the blowout taper or a fringe haircut, right? That's really what he's specializing in, as well as designs. So he's targeting his ideal client, right? And then with these consultations, he's creating a story, right? Most of the time, there's a reason behind why this person is getting the cut. Maybe they got messed up by another barber, right? Maybe it's for an event coming up, whatever it is. Jeff was able to turn it into an entertaining story. And at the end, he would be able to show the client having a testimonial saying, you know, they like the haircut. If you're not going to Jeff, what are you doing? And it's building trust with the audience because it gets to capture these moments of the barber and the client, you know, building that connection together. And again, it showcases that professionalism and expertise in one area that most clients love to see. And again, his consultations here are getting a ton of engagement, but they're also converting, right? And that's the main thing that we need. They may not do the same numbers as these day in the lives consistently on a consistent basis, but again, the quality of the views is higher, right? They have a much higher conversion rate. So these consultations are driving all these likes, viewers, commenters onto his page, where he has a call to action right here of a booking link, and that's going to lead to actually us getting booked clients at the higher price point, right? And like I said, the system was working perfectly. However, he was literally taking way too much time to pump out content, all while still being in high school, right? It just wasn't sustainable, right? At this point, to edit like over 2 videos per day, get out 2 posts every single day, right? We need to do what any business does and outsource this work, automate the business. And so this is where the third key comes in, and that is automation and outsourcing tasks. So what do I mean by working in it on the biz? Working in the business is going to mean that you're actually cutting hair, right? You're doing the work. But working on the business is creating, planning, editing, building your brand, doing all the stuff that requires you to be outside of the shop. And that's the other 50% of growing a business, right? Because if all he's doing is just being in the shop, cutting hair and editing content, how is he ever supposed to have time to create these unique day in the lives, right? And the way we perfected these over time was by him studying other creators, but not just copying, applying it to himself, right? Looking at other lifestyle creators and applying that to his life and to barbering and having a unique message behind Jeff Cuts. So we began allowing to have the editor edit specifically consultations for him because that was the most time consuming. Consultations would take an hour or more for him to edit. And again, he needed to build a unique brand through creativity. First, it's okay to copy, right, to get the ball rolling. But once you get to the point where you're at a more advanced level, you have to take some creativity and actually create your own thing. So like anybody, right, the editor was a key step in actually being able to win his time back. But what does winning your time back mean, right? Well, he wasn't able to do as many haircuts as he should have been because he had to edit all this content. And like anybody, right, talking to Jeff, he was reluctant to spend money on an editor. This editor charged $20 per video. If we do the simple math here, the editor is saving him an extra hour. It's not costing him an hour, right? What does this mean? If Jeff is having to spend an hour a day editing a video, that's a cut that he could have done. That's a $75 that he could have missed out on. And I'm sure he would have much rather done a haircut than edit a video. So even if we pay the $20 to the editor to win back the hour, we're still profiting $55 per the hour, right? So this communication and actually being able to teach somebody something is a valuable skill because you can't just get an editor from the start. You can't skip steps, right? If you try and skip steps, it's going to come back to you. So you must have a basic understanding of content first before you're able to teach it and have this strong feedback loop going. The last key to this system and implementing it into Jeff's business was aggressive price raises over time. Most barbers try and do $5, $10 price increments. We went straight from 25, 40 to 60, and then up to 75, all in the span of less than a year, right? And why did we do this? If the business is filling up too quickly, price raises are a necessity in order to support the new client flow, right? Because there's greater opportunity cost to stay in the same place. Opportunity cost means that you're gonna lose more by not taking the risk. You're gonna lose more by staying in the same place, right? And so if he was to stay comfortable being booked out, he would have been making less money in the long run than if he would have taken the risk, gone to the sweet spot, which is 85% being booked out, and allow for new clients. If he's booked out days in advance, he's limiting the new client flow of the business because new clients aren't trying to book that far in advance. Guys, these three main things were how we're able to achieve these results in Jeff's business. And honestly, guys, all you really have to do is just copy this, right? It's not really hard. And the whole point is so you can just literally just copy us. If you guys want to hear more from Jeff, exactly how he did it, I have a case study video that I'll link at the end of the video going through his exact process of getting here. So that's pretty much the end of the video, guys. Hopefully you guys found these 3 key steps useful and can go ahead and copy them and apply them into your own business. Highly recommend you guys check out the case study video we did on Jeff. I'll link it at the end of the video, and it will also be on my channel if you just scroll a few videos down. This way you guys can see exactly how this process played out from his perspective in his own words. And if you guys want to know exactly how we scaled up Jeff quickly and effectively with no BS, link in bio, book a call, see how we can help you out.